Uh, and this is being recorded. Terrific. All right, welcome everyone to the March meeting of the Brooklyn SWAB. As we're getting settled, if everyone could put into the chat name and where you're calling from, or an organization or neighborhood, that would be terrific. Just to let everyone know, we're having a little bit of challenges because the Wi-Fi is not really cooperating with us right now, but we're working through it. So we're happy to see everyone tonight. We've got a very special guest, Oliver Wright, former chair of the Brooklyn SWAB, is here. So we're thrilled to have him. Very exciting. We'll put him on the spot in a little bit. He can give us an update on what he's doing. But tonight we're really excited to have speakers from NYCHA. Speaking with us, we have from NYCHA itself, Juliette Spertus and Anita Chan. We also have resident leaders from NYCHA and Kristen Lasky. So we're very excited to hear them speak. But what we'd like to do is do a very quick pitch on what always happens in March, which is the nominations for the executive committee of the Brooklyn SWAB. And with that, we'd like to hand it over to a very hungry but energetic Michael Reeser, who is going to take us through the nomination process.
Whoa, yes. First, I want to say, serving on the SWAB, I served on the SWAB board for a term, and I want to say that it's a great experience. It's a great group of people, and you really get a more in-depth understanding of how the SWAB works and what it does, and also, you know, you get a better understanding of what the issues of waste in the city that you don't get as a member of the SWAB. So I want to encourage everyone who is interested to consider running for a position on the board. So elections will be held at the May meeting. That's the first Monday in May. And term limits are 2 years. Next slide, please. So, yep. So far we have 3 people have been nominated or nominated themselves, and you are welcome to nominate yourself. One vacant position that we have is secretary. No one is serving in that position at the present time. I encourage you to sign up. It's not a difficult job. Next slide. So if I'm not going to ask for any nominations from the floor tonight, but for the at the April meeting, I will be asking for nominations from the floor. So if you are considering joining the SWAB, please joining the executive committee. Please prepare yourself and go on. We have the current members of the board who are planning to run again for positions on the board are on the next slides. So I will just briefly nominate. Give you their overview. All right. I'll leave this here a second for you to read. Mary Ellen, of course, is the chair of the SWAB at present. So, next slide. And Rhonda is the former chair of the SWAB and is now the vice chair of the SWAB. And she is running again for vice chair. And the next slide. You. So secretary. No one has thrown their hat in the ring to be the secretary. It's much easier now that you can do it from home. When I was doing, back in the old days you couldn't do it from home, but now it's, you can type and participate in the meeting at the same time. So I encourage you to consider running for any of the positions, but especially for the position of secretary, because that is open. Next slide. And Beth is Sergeant at Arms and is running again for Sergeant at Arms. All of these positions, by the way, are term limited to 2 years. So after the next, all of the current people have served in those positions for 1 year, and this will be their 2nd year. So the next round will be their last year. And next slide. I know I'm not doing them justice. So I just want to say, throw your hat in the ring, get ready for the elections on May 4th. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Michael. Really appreciate your being willing to run the nominations committee again. Really appreciate it. So with that, what I'd like to do is welcome the folks from NYCHA. Perfect timing. This is so wonderful. We have our featured speakers tonight, Juliette Spertus and Anita Chan. Why don't we give you a couple seconds to get situated? Yeah, sure. Let's take advantage of this time while we welcome our NYCHA speakers and take this opportunity to vote on the minutes. Because during our last meeting, we didn't have a chance. We actually didn't have quorums to vote on both the January minutes from the prior meeting and also February. And with that, hopefully everyone has had a chance to read them. We can take a motion to approve the minutes if anyone wants to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to if we approve the minutes.
Okay, great. So let's take a vote unless there's any objections. Let us take a vote, and by a show of hands, if people approve the minutes, if you could raise your hand. That is terrific. Within the room, Beth, we have Rhonda, myself, and Pablo.
Yeah, sorry. I'm also just trying to make sure we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you.
I'm pretty sure we do, but I was 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Are there any disapprovals or rejection of the minutes? Just seeing hands from people approving it. So why don't we, are there any abstentions? Why don't you call out if you wish to abstain? Okay, and I think with that, the minutes have passed. So thank you so much. And I'm gonna just check in with Anita and Juliette. Are you ready, or would you like another couple minutes?
I think we're ready.
I think we're ready. Okay, with that, we're gonna go to the main featured aspect of our programming tonight. I think you all are not, you're talking off the cuff, right? So you're not going to be, or do you have a presentation?
We don't have a presentation, but we've prepared responses to questions that we were provided.
Okay.
So we're kind of going on a little steps already.
Fantastic.
And we printed out some handouts for folks.
Okay.
I had sent some links earlier. I'm not too sure if it made
have
it.
them.
Okay.
You want them all in at once or just as you're talking?
Up to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Easy just to put them on and
Yeah. Okay. So Rhonda, as a leader, is putting the links from Juliette and Anita in the chat. They're passing out some materials here. Please let us know if you can hear them. I know that I'm not sure if we need to get the microphone any closer to you, if that would be helpful.
I'm generally speaking a little too low, so
I think this is though. Okay, so we'll move it to.
Say that it doesn't fall out, so for it to fall out.
Oh, in the back. Yeah. Okay. All right. That is true. So I think with that, I would invite Juliette and Anita to take a moment.
Okay. Well, my name is Juliette Spertus. I'm the program manager for waste infrastructure within the NYCHA's Asset and Capital Management Division, and which is in our sustainability department within our Asset and Capital Management Division. And Anita Chan works with me on the waste team. She's going to start us off, and then I'm going to end with a few items. So,
yeah. Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here. I've attended some BK SWAB meetings on a personal capacity, so this is a very exciting. And yeah, we always want more resident engagement to be part of the work, because you residents are our most important stakeholders for everything that we do. So I'm just gonna start off with some NYCHA information. Some folks, if you're super familiar, you may know better than me. So we were asked to kind of have it Brooklyn centric. So we put together some data within Brooklyn. There are 106 developments, and 60 of them are part of Section 9, so the traditional NYCHA housing, and 38 of them are part of a PAC or trust. So that is Section 9 is still NYCHA land, is still public housing, but managed privately. So that was that started because it was an opportunity to get more funding to help support improvement for NYCHA buildings, to improve the living standards for NYCHA residents. There are over 900 buildings included in these 106, and that's 122,903 residents. So as of this 2025 data. So online, you can find a nice map of NYCHA, and it shows you where all the developments are, which boroughs, and some areas you see is like, very high density of NYCHA developments. And for folks who don't know, a lot, like most of the NYCHA developments were built over 50 years ago. So a lot of it is very aging. That is why there are so many issues that we are addressing. There's also public data on NYCHA developments on NYC Open Data. So that's one of the link. You can search up your development. You can see how many people, how many units, the acreage, and a lot of very interesting data there. So, so we are part of Asset and Capital. There is another team, part of Operations Waste Management, that we work very closely with on all things waste. So I'll start off with the waste flow diagram, where it shows from apartments how waste travels throughout the development. So we have trash chutes in most of the buildings where residents bring their trash bags no larger than 13 gallons, and they're able to put it in, but for recycling, they bring it out outside of their buildings. And first, we are introducing in-building recycling rooms at a very few developments where it's feasible. So the waste flow diagram is there, kind of shows that. And then also public information is individual waste action management plans. So that you can find it online. It details all the information about how waste is managed at each development, including like where their waste yards are, how many compactors, and information on the waste flow specific to that development. If folks have questions, please stop me so that I'm not just rambling on.
Yeah, can you show the diagram of the of those what was it you mentioned the diagram?
Yeah, so that one
closest.
Mhm.
Do we have a link for that or no?
This one I did not provide links. So this one is like more like a kind of graphical, but the individual waste action plan management plans, they are online. So you can Google that. That link should be in there. And you get to select developments based on a list. It's sectioned out to boroughs, and then you can just click on it and you can see it. That is updated every year. So staff from waste management, they go out to each development, spend time there understanding what they have, what's changed, what issues came up the past year, or if there's a issue that's ongoing, how has anything improved, or what other things we need to pay more attention to. So yeah, that is really handy. For NYCHA developments, the Department of Sanitation picks up the waste. So for household trash, paper, cardboard, metal, glass, plastic, cartons, yard waste, and residential food scraps, they're all part of the NYCHA system, just like other residents. But for other streams such as mattresses, e-waste, textile, paint, and bulk trash, we do have vendors picking up, and each of them have slightly different frequency of pickups and methods of picking up. So we have a goal of containerizing everything as well to prevent a huge mess outside on your sidewalk, because if even on blocks where it's like shorter buildings, it can pile up. You can certainly imagine how much waste is produced in our larger NYCHA buildings. So we have exterior hydraulic compactors in most of our sites where it's feasible, and bulk crushers too, to really compact the trash, and those get taken off premises without even touching the ground. So that's great. But to even improve that, for our new waste yards, we're installing auger compactors. So it's even you could fit more in the compactor so that there are fewer pickups. Juliette will talk about that a little later.
Can I stop you for 1 minute?
Mhm.
You said they have the hydraulic compactors?
Yes.
And the hydraulic compactors, where are they located? Are you talking about the incinerators within the building?
No. So these hydraulic compactors, they are outside. If you walk by like a waste yard and you see just a huge like metal containers, that would be what trash goes into.
Oh, okay.
Inside your building, there may be compactors as well, but those are interior compactors and just much smaller volume. So you're putting into like 40-pound bags, trash bags, and those still have to be moved outside to put into these larger compactors.
Yeah, because I heard you say it's like a 13-gallon, because I live in NYCHA, and I live in grand houses. I live in 430. I've been in my apartment for like 50 years. But you wouldn't know that you're in a housing apartment. When you come outside of my building, they have these big canvases bags that are on wheels. People are coming out of the building, putting all their trash in there, and it overflows and it trickles up into the walkway. Trickles up into the walkway. I don't understand why the maintenance men want people to put their garbage outside in front of the building in those big canvas bags, and it's overload. It's overload, and with our doors being open 24 hours all year long, the garbage is trickling over, running down on the ground, on the canopy in front of the building, in front of the infrastructure, and it rolls into the building.
Okay, yeah, we'll take note of that and bring it to the operations and property management staff. So that's not supposed to happen. We do want residents to put their trash in the chute when it's possible, but there would bound to be some trash that's a little too big to shove down the chute, and we don't want it to clog. So if it's too big, then people need to bring it down, but it really shouldn't be the bulk of trash that's coming downstairs. I'm not too sure about the canvas bags you're saying, but maybe like it's just a large bin. So
Like
that
a large bin, yes, a large
oh, okay,
bin.
okay.
But the large bin is there every day.
Mhm.
The what do you call it? The recycling bins is around the corner in the building where they should take it at. Mattresses, couches, all of that is in front of the building as you leaving out front entrance. All of that's in front of the building. It's an eyesore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, noted. That is definitely a huge issue in many developments that we are definitely prioritizing to tackle. And containerizing trash for both in the waste yard and on pathways like right outside of buildings, and it's very important, right? Because we don't want the eyesores, and we want to make sure that we have enough bins to hold all the trash. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Certainly.
And I think I'll pass it over to Juliette to talk about some challenges, which.
Let's see.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had my hand raised
Sure.
because I wanted to ask the first person who spoke a question. You mentioned that in some of the developments that you spoke with tenants and that they are using smaller bags for the shoots. So I'm curious if they're compliant with that, or are they, or are they compliant with that, using the smaller bags for the shoots?
So that we don't have a strict tracking of like a compliance, and it isn't strictly an issue if they bring it outside, but it is an issue if they improperly dispose elsewhere. So if the development is providing the 2 cubic yard bins outside, it is okay for them to bring it outside and put it in the bin. And to encourage people to for proper disposal, we are tapping into community partners to do more education, but we also have the Clean NYCHA webpage, and that is resident focused. So it's like two parts, right? Like one part is purely staff, how we're building infrastructure to help staff manage the waste, and also training them to manage the waste well and prioritize recycling. And the other portion is how are we supporting residents and also educating residents. So the Clean NYCHA site, also the link should be provided, has a lot of information and graphics that we have used in the past and hope to continue using, and also introduce newer ones too to help with this.
Yeah, I personally do not agree that they should be putting the garbage downstairs in these large bins. I don't think they should be encouraged to do that. I've been in Marble Hill for almost 40 years, and the same amount of families live here, and this did not occur when I was here years ago. This did not occur. It's just starting now. And I think if you put in the bins outside, that's just going to encourage the tenants to put their garbage outside. I feel like it should be enforced from management to put your garbage in the chutes. And it's not only an eyesore, but it's dangerous because there is a rat infestation in Marble Hill houses due to the garbage being put outside. So all garbage should be put in the chute. I mean, except if it's large, like mattress, and we can go to the back to do that, to put the large items out. But food garbage and boxes, but especially the food garbage, no. I mean, I walk out my building, and this is what I see the first thing I walk in, and the first thing when I'm walking back home. And rats, running from rats. Not only are they unsightly, ugly, but they're dangerous. They carry disease, and these disease kill people. The hantavirus, and there's no cure for this. And that comes through their saliva, their feces, and their urine. So all the rats around here, of course, they're emitting these fluids, and this can contaminate us, the tenants.
I agree with you 100%.
I don't think any food garbage should be put outside. Like I said, would the same amount of people lived here years ago, the same amount of people live here now? Because they were saying, oh, there's bigger families. No, this is the same size families. They just took care of their place better, and they also had better management. The managers,
Exactly.
they walked around and they would not allow this. And it's very scary and it's very dangerous.
And can I piggyback off of what you're saying? It is management as well. Management does not do what they supposed to do. When the maintenance come to your home, you know, they want to come into your home. Their shoes will look like they're in mud, and they want to walk into your homes, and that's disease. I'm 73. I have underlying conditions. I have to have them put foot coverings on their foot, and some of them say, oh no, I don't want that because I can fall. I tell them, well, I have renter's insurance. Okay, but the bottom line is the management office is the liaison between the tenants and the local leaders. We don't get that anymore, and I agree with this young lady. They're not doing their job. They're not putting emphasis on finding people. They're not screening these people who come in here. And I have to say this, the amount of people that's coming in the buildings now, there's 5 families living in one apartment and they're only getting one rent. So that's that. So you have more people here now. It's not like it used to. Like I said, used to die. We went to the funeral. But there's more people in these apartments now, and NYCHA is not getting the rent. You're supposed to have maybe 3 tenants in the apartment. They got 50. They're in there like rats themselves.
Well, we really appreciate, you know, the firsthand sort of report, and we, as Anita said, we will definitely bring this back and mention what you said regarding Grand Houses and Marble Hill. I do think it's a good segue. Ms. Malloy, you mentioned that we should be using the chutes.
Yes.
And we 100% agree. I think everyone agrees that the chutes are what we should use for the material that goes down the chute. But remember, the chute is going to landfill. And 2/3 of what is in the NYCHA waste stream, we know, is recyclable. So we really want to encourage and make recycling more convenient. Recycling is also the bulky stuff that clogs the chute. Cardboard will clog the chute. So that material has to be sorted, and we're really trying to improve and make options for recycling more convenient, because as you mentioned, you have to walk around the corner to find the recycling bin, and they're very small. So one of the initiatives that we've been working on is to make available larger recycling stations that are closer to building entrances, and that include the recycling and a place for bulky trash, but in an enclosure. So that is something that we're working with at certain properties to make that happen. But in the meantime, we have to work with what we have, right? And each property manager is working, trying to maintain their grounds with the staff that they have, and support residents. So,
well, wasn't those bins that you're referring to when Greg Russ was ahead of whatever position he took place? That was back in 2021. Those bins were initiated. You understand? And they never came into existence. And like with those bins, like the lady saying, that's outside, even though they can't take the bulky like mattress and stuff downstairs. It's encouraging them to be lethargic, to put everything in those bins in front of the building. And that's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. But those bins that you're referring to, the hydraulic and things like that, that was supposed to be in existence years ago.
Can somebody, Rob has a point, or you want to contribute to this conversation, Rob? Just make sure you unmute.
Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah.
There's someone who wants to add to the conversation, if that's
Well,
okay.
no, I'm just wondering, and with all of this, I haven't heard what's happening to the food scraps. Is that where does
Yeah.
that fit in?
So we covered sort of the demographic, the sort of data around NYCHA in Brooklyn. We covered, Anita covered the waste flow, right? Typically how the waste is managed. And one really important, I think, feature that we're all discussing right now is that most of these NYCHA properties are campuses. And so NYCHA staff have to do the door-to-door collection and then bring that material to one central place for sanitation. That is very different from the typical residential building where the staff bring material to the curb and then it's collected. At NYCHA campuses, staff are responsible for collecting that material, bringing it to the location. So we talked about that. We talked about the different types of service and the plans for containerization. And now talking about the different waste streams you mentioned. So we are mostly, so the source separation is a resident responsibility, right? So residents are expected to separate their trash from the metal, glass, plastic, and the paper recycling. For compost, currently we have drop-off locations that are the public drop-off locations, which are, within the community. And then at some NYCHA locations, we have the NYCHA farms, and they have on-site composting, right? 3-bin compost systems. In Brooklyn, that would be, it was Bayview, Howard, and I guess Howard and Bayview are the two. Red Hook also, right? And at those locations, residents can bring their food scraps to a drop-off, and they're processed directly. And then we are also working with partners, so Compost Power and Green City Forest for the farms and Compost Power. Now we have a grant-funded program in Manhattan where we have a 3-bin system that is installed without a farm, and that's operated by Compost Power, and residents can bring their food scraps there. And again, with grant funding, we're leveraging that site to then collect food scraps from neighboring NYCHA properties so that residents at those properties can drop off their food scraps. And we're looking at other opportunities, working again with community partners, because for all of the reasons that we just discussed, we don't have the staffing to manage a new program with NYCHA staff. So instead, we're really looking at opportunities to bring in partners to provide that access within the NYCHA property, and then also supporting residents and, for example, gardens, community gardens within NYCHA properties. And I think the SWAB can talk about another initiative that they're working on, again, with a partner. So, Robert, I hope that answers your question about food scraps.
And in the individual waste action management plans in the map, I think it's on page 9, which I printed out that specific page. It also would show you where the closest drop off is.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thanks. And you said the drop-off locations, what are those orange bins?
Right, any kind of community drop-off we're considering, right? So whether it's smart bin or other option.
Parks and whoever collects there.
And then in terms of how well is source separation working at NYCHA, what are the challenges and how do you track this? This was a question. So as you mentioned, the source separation is a resident responsibility. There's signage provided that and some support from our waste management department for property managers, right? So our waste management department initiated in 2021 a program called Recycle First to sort of restart the collaboration around recycling with the sanitation department, which had fallen off somewhat in the pandemic. And as a part of that, our waste management department monitors set out of recycling from each property and then provides reminders and retrainings to support staff with their set out of recycling and their collection from the green and blue bins. There are a lot of challenges, as I'm sure the NYCHA residents on the call know. The big one being convenience, right? Just making sure that the recycling is convenient. We don't have a lot of funding for outreach and education, so we're always looking for partnership opportunities and trying to really leverage our partnerships. We really encourage you to look at the Clean NYCHA webpage. There are a lot of resources there. And then there are also challenges related to just illegal dumping, and there's the general, the fact that passersby and other members of the community can come onto NYCHA campuses and to dump material, and we have to clean that up. And then, yeah, and I mentioned convenience. So we're trying to make that recycling, those stations more convenient and working with, as we said, with properties to improve those stations. So I think we covered. The next question was what resident-led organizations are there at NYCHA, and how are they contributing to waste management goals and proper policies? So as I mentioned, we have the NYCHA Farms and the Green City Force, which is an organization that hires youth from NYCHA developments, and they get job training and urban forestry and gardening and green jobs training. And so they're a wonderful partner. They have a license agreement to operate at NYCHA, and then they do their own fundraising. We also have had contracts with them so they can support work that we are doing. We also have another entity is the Inner City Green Team. They work out of Wagner houses, and they also have a license agreement to be on site, and then they do their own fundraising. And then there's the Climate Action Grant recipients. So again, we'll hear about that, I think, from the MSWAB team. But NYCHA residents can apply for grant funding to support their own initiatives. And so there's some really exciting programs that residents are leading that way. And all of these things are critical to filling the gaps that we have around resident engagement and around compost and some of the other streams that we don't have funding to manage with our own staff. We didn't mention that all of NYCHA yard waste is being diverted through either DSNY collection or through composting on site and mulching on site. So that is a really exciting step forward, and we look forward to using that, leveraging that to increase our food scraps options. And finally, we had a request to present on the waste yard redesign and other waste-related capital projects in Brooklyn, and also and how will those projects advance waste management goals. We did talk about that a little bit. Anita mentioned the waste yard, if you can picture that, is like a compound, right? That's where DSNY comes to pick up the containers. So we are, as Anita mentioned, the new waste yards use equipment called an auger compactor, and it's like essentially like a big screw, like you think of a meat grinder, and it cuts up the material. Instead of the hydraulic compactor is a ram, and that means that if you can put in a couch, you can put in a piece of furniture, you can put in all of that stuff. It gets cut up, so it's very efficient. And then sanitation picks that up. And so instead of having the open 30-yard container, the bulk containers that are really an eyesore, that attract other dumping and that are very hard to control, and that are also places where a lot of cardboard and other recyclable material ends up getting put instead of being recycled. So now we're putting in these augers, and then we're creating enclosed storage for recycling. We've never had dedicated enclosed storage. And what happens is that without that dedicated enclosed storage, staff are faced with a choice between sometimes cleaning up and putting things in the trash, or having a mess that they're trying to manage until the recycling pickup day. So with this new infrastructure, staff won't have to make that choice, and they should be able to keep the recycling area clean and also keep that material sorted. So that is one of the big features of these waste yards. Also, they will have at bigger sites, like for example in Brooklyn at Farragut houses, or also at Ingersoll and at Whitman, are all getting new waste yards. And they will have special equipment for cardboard and metal, glass, plastic, so that material doesn't have to get set out on the curb, because you can imagine when you have a whole campus of thousands of residents and every week all of that recycling is set out on the curb, it's overwhelming. So the containerization unit from DSNI will pick up the container for cardboard and metal, glass, plastic at those bigger locations. So we're very excited about that, and that will reduce truck trips, and we hope really improve the appearance of the waste yard, because they're right in the middle of campus.
Just pickups once a week, or I guess it varies based on what kind of pickups.
Recycling is, if it's curbside, it's once a week. If it's in these containers, it's called for pickup. So it's much more efficient for us.
Does every development have a waste yard?
Almost all the larger developments have a waste yard. So in that link that Anita shared, you'll notice that not every development is represented. So it's only the developments that manage material. And you'll see sometimes one development will manage what they call consolidation. So several properties.
There's some questions in the chat. If you're there's one question: doesn't NYCHA have its own small fleet of hacker trucks to supplement the DSNY service?
They do. It's true. They do have a fleet of trucks that we use to support on trash, and sometimes also on cardboard and on yard waste as well. But the goal is really that's also costly, right? So to the extent that we can, and it depends on having, drivers and staff. So that's used as like a backup.
Okay. Okay, wait, this might have been answered already. Beth asked, are there organics drop-off sites within NYCHA campuses or just outside? Okay, I think that and what kind of educational encouragement is provided to residents about the drop-off sites for organics? But I think you covered that maybe? Mm-hmm. Okay, so then Rob, who's asked about the organics earlier, said, I wondered if you could share your thoughts on how the on-site composting could possibly be rolled out to more NYCHA locations. Oh, we could just get funded
Yeah.
for that.
Well, maybe I'll let Anita answer because she's managing the current grant-funded organics program.
Yeah, unfortunately, the big question is money, but another huge piece is partnerships, right? So we are definitely not anywhere near being able to have staff process food scraps on site. So we need dedicated partners to help us with it. And I think what we've been doing, it serves as a great model to move forward. And we have had conversations with different folks to try to bring it into reality, but funding really has proven very challenging. And out of the various waste streams, I think food scraps is the hardest to convince people to take part in, and I'm sure you all know that. So yeah, if you know of any groups or you yourself are very interested, we'd love to connect and really brainstorm and work towards this. Grant funding that we've gotten, it's not ongoing. The current one that we have is USDA, and that allows us to have collection at Patterson, Polo Grounds, and then the 4 other satellite sites to just bring them all together. So that we're only servicing that area of Manhattan and the Bronx. So we currently don't have such a project in Brooklyn.
What was the third one? Patterson Polo Grounds and what?
Patterson Polo Grounds. So for Patterson it's Mitchell and Mott Haven, and then for Polo Grounds is Rango and Harlem River.
You could just describe a little bit what that program is and the hub model.
Yeah, so the hub model, we have one development where they're actively composting the food scraps. So they're collecting food scraps there and from nearby developments. So that increases the amount of food scraps that we have to actually process in one place. And that is creating a network of people, and that also kind of feeds into when we have workshops, we can just kind of have a larger audience. And I think it's cost effective too, not building out processing at every single development.
And also, just to add, I think this is correct, that your partners are actually collecting it, the people are dropping it at their own site.
Yes.
Right? They don't have to walk to the hub
Mm-hmm.
site.
Yes.
So that's also.
Yeah. And then they're also using a cargo trike to bring the compost back to the host site, which is an interesting something that we're trying out with this pilot or grant funding.
Scraps and then taking back the finished compost.
Mm-hmm. And one of your hub sites is processing school food scraps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is very exciting.
So I think that there's a lot of really exciting opportunities, and we're always open to license agreements with organizations that are interested in working on NYCHA property and offering services like food scrap collection. That is one model. Another model I think we'll get into with the MSWAB are hosting collections at sites. So anyway, we're always interested to talk about that more. I think, yeah.
Does PACT share any insights with you on what they're doing?
We actually review all of the PACT project plans for waste, and we discuss with them best practices. And we are now, it takes a long time between when a PACT site is announced and when they actually finally finish construction. But the first sites are finishing construction, and we are really looking at what's working well for them and what we can learn. They have a different staffing, they have private management so they can do things a little bit differently, but we're absolutely looking at what they're doing, and also really encouraging them to work with some of these same partners.
I thought they would have their own system, but I guess not.
No, they do. Yeah, but they they also use these waste compounds. They have to containerize their waste. We are asking them to provide options for organics and better, more convenient recycling for residents when they renovate their properties.
Thank you so much. No, we may still have some questions, but I know we're also short on time, so I wanted to hand it over to Kristen and the NYCHA Resident Leaders for just a quick
Yeah.
your discussions.
And thank you guys.
Yes,
Yeah, that
thank
was
you
really good.
so
So-
much. I think I know we heard also already from Diane Malloy and from Teresa Reagan, but I'm also wondering, I can't see on the screen right now, if Diana Blackwell and Barbara Williams are on. If you are, please unmute and say hello.
Hello, this is Barbara Williams. This is Diana Blackwell.
Wonderful,
Sorry,
wonderful.
Barbara.
Okay, I would love to. We heard a little bit from Diane and from Teresa, and I'd like to give them another chance if they have a few more things they want to say. But first, let's see if Barbara and Diana want to just give a quick sort of from their perspective at their. It's actually interesting to this point that was made about RAD and the difference between NYCHA managed properties and the RAD PAC properties. Diana is in Fred Samuel Apartments, which is RAD PAC'd, and Barbara is in Polo Grounds, which is NYCHA managed. So maybe just we can hear from them about what's happening in those two. So Diana, would you mind starting us off, and then maybe Barbara can go after you?
Sorry, try to get unmuted again. Hello, everybody. Hi, I am at Fred Samuel, which is a RAD PAC property, and we are in the midst of converting. We have not totally been converted. We're about 20 months into the process. And I'd like to say that this is a very, very enriched conversation because I'm listening to a lot of information. And I want to say as to the RAD PAC and waste management, it is being developed, which means that when a development goes in this way of the RAD PAC, it does take a little while to get set up. It's based on whatever was agreed in the process of making it become a RAD PAC development, but it still takes a little while because what you're doing is still trying to educate people that we have to keep the city clean. And you have to also think, not only keep the city clean, we have to also meet the requirements of the city. Was it 2035 sustainability?
And for the novices who didn't hear, could you help us out and define RAD PAC? Oh, did we lose her?
We might have.
Okay.
So wait, I think Mary Arnold put something in there, right?
Or Kristen, if you want to go ahead and.
RAD PAC? Yeah, well, we probably have more experts than I, but and they did touch on it earlier in the presentation, but NYCHA just lacks funding for a lot of the capital projects that are needed with the aging infrastructure. And so RAD PAC'd was a development where they could do some like financial hocus pocus a little bit and go from Section 9 to Section 8 housing by turning it over to private developers to access more capital money to make the improvements. So if a development and the tenants agree, tell me if I'm getting this wrong, but if they agree to go RAD PAC'd, then they unlock some capital improvements that can be made sort of immediately, and then that they are Section 8 housing at that point, and the private developer comes in and does all of the management that NYCHA would have done if they had stayed Section 9. I think that's like in a real quick nutshell what it is. Is that Fair.
That's fair in saying it, but we still have to comply with what the city says. We're, not, we are still under obligation. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the time. Barbara, you want to speak?
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Yeah.
Polo grounds, we are now used for the waste. We have compost power here. One of the main drop-off for food scraps, collecting from Rangel houses and Harlem River. And we have the pneumatic system, which is this form of collecting garbage. We put our garbage into the hopper on our floors and is sucked into the main building where it's received by whatever form of pickup that they're doing. I like the pneumatic system. I think that there's still work to be done, and everything has not been completed as of yet. Our recycling rooms are not completely opened yet. But recycling is something I've worked with for a long time. Actually, I see Michael Kaiser here. I started with him many years ago, trying to get the resident of Polo Ground to recycle. Didn't work as well as we want, but now it's happening. And some adjustments have been made. And we have more people who are interested in recycling and composting. I am a gardener. And the compost, the three system compost is in my garden. I actually asked for him to come because I always wanted to recycle. Thank you, Michael, to you. You brought me to this step, leaving a clean footstep behind, and I never stopped. Today, I'm still doing it and asking people to join in.
If I can just say, if you could see Miss Williams' garden, it's incredible at Polo Grounds. It looks like it rivals a big Green City First or urban farm. It is beautiful and amazing. And Domingo told us a story that that you did a giveaway to your residents of collard, in general, a lot of things, but that they were getting collard greens, and then they protested, some of the residents at the local store, and said, "These collard greens are terrible." After that, you've got to get better collard greens, and they did. They found a better farmer. So once they understood because of you.
But I'll tell you, the garden started because I didn't want to pay for the mess that was on the supermarket shelves. I grew up in a farming country. I know what fresh vegetables should look like, and I was not getting it. So my frustration was, I need to start a garden, which I did. I want to make the story short. I end up starting a garden. I've been doing it now for about 10 years. And everything that I grow in this garden, what my family and I do not use, and the people who work with me, because they get first choice, we give away to the residents. And the reason I feel that we give these away, or why I give them away, is because I want people to know what fresh vegetables really are. You taste fresh collard green, the example that Domingo gave you, and the ones that's bought from the supermarket. This lady has moved out of Polo Grounds, but every year she called to ask, am I growing collard green? And she's a loyal follower. And the children, right now we're going under this stuff, the work for the facade of the building. So the kids are not allowed to come into the garden at this time. But you bring children in this garden, let them taste a fresh tomato, and because we don't use pesticides, you just need to wipe it off and throw it in your mouth. I usually take a little salt down with me because I like to sprinkle salt on mine. The people, the residents, because of the efforts that Michael and his crew put forth years ago, they're still recycling. that is an area that I would love to somehow expand and get more residents to participate in food scrap collection. And I will speak with Domingo and see how that works out, but we'll find a way to get more people involved. And the children love it. I like it. And whenever there's a meeting with Juliette and her team, I am there. Because Juliette introduced me to Domingo.
Yay.
And we became partner, and he's doing a beautiful job. You know, we started out, I was going all over the place getting composting, and he said, well, wait a minute. You need to get this from the people who live here. So my focus needed to change. Now I got to talk to my neighbor. I have a couple of buckets. Would you like to use one to collect your food scrap? We have everything here. Just put it in. And guess what? We make our own dirt. Your food give us the dirt that's growing, the vegetables that's recycled to you in form of food. So trying to sell that message, how important it is to recycle, to collect your food scrap, not throw it into a garbage dump when you place right here that will collect it. Let's do that. The food is free. You know, let us do this. And I work with several resources, NYRP. They come in, Green Thumb come in. I work with anybody who's willing to give me some seeds, some plants, or to make this happen. I've always been a recycler. I recycle my bottles. I recycle cans. It's just that we're not set up to collect those things as it is now. And Juliette and her team, they are building these rooms. And I can't wait for it to be open. I am one of the biggest partner in this because I live here and I want to see the clean. I want to see children happy. I don't want the garbage. I want garbage becoming something that is progressive and productive for all. And if we could get that message across to our residents, one by one, they'll come along, because one thing about what people do, if they see something working, oh, wait a minute, they start saying, well, maybe I want to do something like that too. So now they're going to join in. So recycling, gardening, involving the children, we are going to do that. My garden, I'm looking to build it out with a kitchen in it so that we can do food prep with the things we grow there. I want a small stage where the children on the weekend, instead of hanging out on the corner, they can hang out in the garden with a microphone, showing off what their talents are. It might be, read a book, hang out with some friends. This is a safe place. And that's what we want. And I want to thank people like Michael Kaiser, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I want to thank Juliette Spertus and her friends. Domingo, I love these people. They are doing the things that I've been fighting for and had no idea how to do it, and you're helping me to put it together. I am each and every one of your partners. And I would love for anyone who wants to see my garden to come on over.
That's it. That's an invitation. Everybody heard it.
It is an invitation. And right now I've done some things that put out some views that I'd like to see in the garden, and how to bring people in during this time where the children can't come in. So there are lots of conversations going on, because my main motto is never give up. So
Barbara,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but I can see Diane has her hand up, and she said
But I can't do Diane. So
She's at Marble Hill and may have some questions for you, or
well, that I'm all done.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Diane.
Oh, yes, thank you. I actually didn't have my hand out. I was scratching my eye. But I did want to speak more. I don't know. Did I have it on in the participant chat? But anyway, I did want to speak more. Now, I had spoken with Kristen Lasky. Is she here this evening?
Yep. I'm here.
You are. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've only conversated through email. So did you you said that you were going to show the slides of the garbage?
Yeah. Did we do that now? If you don't mind pulling up the slides, the Google slides. Okay.
This is in front of my building. When I walk out the building, this is what I'm confronted with.
Next one. There we go.
I'm walking out my building. My building is, you can see up to the right, the door, and this is what I'm walking through, and the rats are running all around, inside, outside the garbage. That's one picture.
Yeah, and if you go to the next slide, there are a series of pictures that sort of show in different sites.
This is the garbage that I have, that I'm confronted with every day. And see, I mean, this is obvious that rats are attracted to this. And it's just scary. It's disgusting. All of this can go in the chute. And it's even in it's even in NYCHA's newsletter that they're supposed to, and tenants are supposed to put their garbage in chutes. And all of this garbage is here. This is food garbage.
Yeah, someone did ask.
That is an eyesore.
Yeah, and there was more, but Ms. Lasky said that she wasn't able to get them all. But there was much more.
Wow. I mean, there's definitely some paper that's recycling that maybe doesn't go in the chute, but also I can see the trash bins that are full. So is there a reason, like, why people aren't using the chutes? Are they broken, or is it just different habits?
It's the habits that they have. There's habits.
Well, it's because management put these baskets out, which was totally unnecessary. And as I stated earlier, instead of putting baskets out, they should have been enforcing the tenants to use the chutes. That's what they're there for. They're on every floor. There is no need for you to come down on your elevator. I mean, these people actually wait for the elevator, come down on the elevator, walk to the lobby, put their garbage, go back in the building, wait for the elevator, when they could have just walked down the hall and put their garbage in the chute. And it's so dangerous. I'm terrified to walk through there. And a lot of people are. And even children are being afraid. I saw children on their little scooters one day, and one girl was, they must have been like 9 years old, and one girl was saying, "Oh, I'm not going through that way, the rats are there." No, and there's a little play area over where I live when you come out the building as well, and there are rats over there. People don't even want to bring their children out to the play area. It's dangerous.
Are those sheds?
Can I say something?
Or is this under construction? Is this construction fences?
Yes, and the rats crawl up there. Yeah, that's under the scaffolding. And the rats crawl up there and they crawl into the garbage. It's mayhem. It's disgusting. It's horrible. It's unbelievable. It's like a slum or worse.
No, thank you so much for sharing these.
And my building is right there. So when I come out that building, the second picture, this is what I'm confronted with.
Oh,
that picture.
My God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first slide of that sequence, you can see how close to the door.
Right.
Right there. Exactly. The door is like in that top right corner. And so it's just right in front of the door.
Yes. And I had a friend of mine take pictures of videos of rats. I can't do that. He took videos of rats crawling around there. So the other day we came out and there was rats and birds. Plethora of birds and rats all in the garbage, all around the garbage. It's horrible.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
so
much,
much,
Diane.
Kristen.
I just want to just make sure that Teresa, if she wants to, she talked about three
I'm
things.
here. I'm looking at it. That's, I mean, you got it better than I do, hon. I mean, oh, and like you said, with those bins there, that garbage is for the incinerator, not to be carried outside. But I agree with you because I've seen my neighbors come downstairs, put the garbage in the fence area, in the fence, so then the maintenance man can carry it towards the back to the recycling bin. I feel for you because I never forget it was February 19th, 2025. I was coming from the gym and I thought it was a little dog. It was a rat walking past me, walking me into the building.
They're very large. They're very large rats. They're very large. And it's one other thing I want to say, because now management is trying to pass the buck and blaming it on staff that they're not cleaning the garbage up. And I tell them it's not, these workers are saying they're not sanitation people. And I tell them it's not the staff fault. It's not maintenance fault. It's the tenants that you need to enforce them to put their garbage in the chutes. I have to say this a million times. It's not the staff. It's not their fault that garbage accumulates like this. And this happens in a matter of time. Like, they can clean this up and I go shopping and for maybe a couple of hours and I come back and then it's like this again.
But Diane, you have to understand that is maintenance job. They have to remove it. But I agree with you.
It's not their fault that this happens.
That's what maintenance is supposed to do. But it's like you said, they need to enforce that on the tenants, because this is milk crates, things like that.
Let me tell you something. When I moved here years ago, maintenance, mop floors, and mop the elevator floors and the hallway
You have
floors.
a different caliber of maintenance people now.
They did. We didn't have this. No.
I understand what you're saying, but you have different caliber of maintenance. You don't have the maintenance men that you had years ago. I agree with you. The maintenance men that I had years ago, they were awesome. The guys that you have now, it looked like they just got up out of bed ready and roll and came to work.
I don't have the managers that I used to have years ago. I'm not going to put this on staff at all.
Wow. I agree with you that it's management's fault.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Of course, maintenance
hiring as well.
Yes, maintenance is supposed to clean, but it's not. This is not supposed to be like this. Period. Point blank. Period. It's not supposed to be this.
It's been a challenge, and certainly it took a lot to get here, and we're not going to solve it tonight. But
Right. Well, I just wanted to ask Teresa, because you said there were a couple of issues you wanted to talk about, and one of them was the problem, and I know that this is true of other campuses as well, that of people throwing trash out the windows.
Oh yeah, I mean, they throw bulks of garbage out the window. I live on the 21st floor, so I can look down on the canopy. I have to call the call center to tell them to clean the top of the canopy because the garbage is like building up. It was a dead cat on the canopy. Now, the young lady that lives, her window is leveraged to the canopy. She says she can't open up her window because the rats and the mice is running back and forth. But I indicated to her, I said, well, I'm calling and I'm on the 21st floor. Why aren't you calling? Okay. I went over to the new building that Columbia had built at 14, the new building. And I seen when the building was erected. I had to go over there and ask them, I asked the security guard, could I talk to some of the tenants that are coming in and out of the building, that because they have windows to the ceiling, to the floor, so they can look right over to my building, that if they find a time, because if they're sipping on their coffee or drinking their wine, and the times that we're living in, can you take some pictures of seeing the garbage? Because I know you see the garbage coming out the window from my building. And they said they would. They said, they can't believe. I said, well, you guys are paying all this amount of money for this view, and this is what you're seeing. They're seeing garbage coming out the windows. They throw bags of garbage out the window. And when you go to management and you tell them, it seems like there's nothing they can do. So I agree with Diane. It's management, but the maintenance guys have to clean it up. I know they get tired of cleaning up behind people, but that's their job. And if you don't have enough maintenance people to clean up, I complain because like I tell them, if I'm going to be uncomfortable, I'm going to continue to poke the bear and I'm going to make them uncomfortable. And I am a very active advocate in my community. I don't let them sleep. I became a prisoner in my own home because I can't even get on the elevator by myself because my front doors are open all year round for any and everybody to come in. I mean, it's unbelievable that the 1st of January of 2025, they found a deceased person on the 8th floor in my building. And he didn't even live here. And then the end of the year, December, I was going over to the meeting at the 26th precinct. It was a domestic violence. If the doors were closed, and that would have been a deterrent, the man came, and the young man, well, whether he was young or old, whatever he was, he came in here and killed his domestic partner. So this is the conditions that we're under. And management does only thing, like I said, they're the liaison between the tenants and the local leaders. They're not reporting anything. They're just sitting over there getting a check. They're not doing anything and shuffling papers. That's it. And when you complain to them, they say, this is not our department. That's downtown. I hadn't had heat, like say from January 1st until I really started saying, wait a minute, let me start calling my local leaders myself. I call Yusuf Salim's office. I call Representative SPAT's office. I call Sean Abrams' office. That's how I got things done. So
and Teresa, I just want to point out that I got introduced to you through We Act, as well as Diane Malloy, and that's definitely one group that we're trying to work with because We Act has a NYCHA working group. I think recently trash has sort of been coming up as a topic there. And so we are trying to collaborate more. So I really, really appreciate that you made the time to tell us your experiences. So Teresa, Diane, Barbara, and Diana, if you're still able, we'll really quickly go through our slides. I think we're over time quite a bit. So I'm just gonna breeze through. I do want to just point out Diana Blackwell is the founding co-chair of this recycling committee at the MSWAB. And she does amazing work of keeping us sort of focused. So I want to thank her for all of that. She's been there from the beginning. I think her second co-chair, but before me, it was Danielle Cooper, who has done tremendous work, both at the MSWAB and since then and before then and all that sort of stuff. So she informs a lot of what we've done. So I've taken over more recently. And we're going to really quickly, if we can go to the next slide, I just want to reiterate a couple of things. The way we learn about NYCHA and how things work, there's 3 basic ways. We already heard about some of the public resources, but I want to underscore the individual waste action plan is just phenomenal it's so rich in terms of information. You can find out what day of the week recycling is picked up at any given consolidation. You can find out they have estimated tonnage of different materials. You can find out whether there's a community center on site. It's just a really, really rich source of information. The quarterly meetings we have with NYCHA, we meet with these lovely women every quarter, as well as their counterparts in waste management. And there we hear more about the sort of granularity of the things they're working on, and we can talk about collaborations. And then finally, residents, and that's really important. We do a lot of partnering with some of the organizations that you've heard throughout this meeting, Compost Power, ICGT, that's Inner City Green Team. And we really it was always been part of our goals to reach out more to We Act and Green City Force. And I think we had good relationships, but I haven't kept those up, but I'm really pleased. That's why with Diane and with Teresa from the We Act working group, we're starting that up again. All right, let's keep going. I do want to say, oh, there's the individual waste. That's you already sort of saw a map from the individual waste action plan. This is a beautiful campus of NYCHA. You saw what it looked like when it wasn't working, but this is Smith Houses, and you can see, you know, there are the recycling bins. And I know Juliette already talked about how they're going to try to move those closer to the entrances so they're more convenient. And there is a little discarded item, but I will point out, it looks like it's all recyclables, like sorted recyclables near the recycling bin. Maybe it just didn't fit in the opening or something like that. And then they do have some trash, but near the entrance to the building. Dog waste, the dog waste stations, some consolidations have those, some don't, but it seems to be an issue everywhere. Everybody talks about dog waste. All right, but I just want to show a picture of like, this is a great, and you go and it's always like park-like and beautiful. So clearly it might be on a sort of development by development basis and who's on staff. And that brings up sort of Danielle Cooper's most recent research that staff really does make a difference. Residents have to do their part. That is essential, but staff does make a difference.
And just to say that when it's clean, residents are less likely to litter it up because, and we found that with our litter cleanups, that it stays clean when there's people know that someone's watching and caring for it.
But I think also staff have to be empowered to enforce and innovate and be listened to. So that
might be, yeah. All right, so the next slide is a whole bunch of the ones that we saw already. We can go, yeah. So our committee, we set every year we set goals for the committee, and they've sort of been very similar last year to this year. We started collaborating with NYCHA on certain things last year, which we'll talk about, and we want to continue those. And we picked like 2 areas that we are focusing on. One is like developing metrics and resident engagement. I think you heard, you know, there's just not budget for the resident engagement, and that seems to be a really critical part of this. So if we can help fill some of that gap, that's our goal. Then we want to support organics, and then the recycling diversion as well. And I can't read the other ones right now. Yes, that's why I'm here. We would love to bring on more active members in our committee from other SWABs. We're very Manhattan focused because that's where we live and it's convenient for us. But there are more developments in Brooklyn than there are in Manhattan. And so it would make sense if we could join forces and do some work in Brooklyn where more people are. And then again, we want to reach out to our partners that sort of that relationship had dropped off a little bit. So our past activities, but we'll just run through the next few slides quickly. We did a tour in Sunset Park. We brought NYCHA leaders out to see how that worked. I think tours are important. Tours are important because you need people that other people listen to say, yeah, if you recycle, they actually do what they're supposed to with it. Because I think that is one of the many obstacles for people. They say like, well, if I do it, I think they just throw it in the trash anyway, but they can see for themselves, this works. So we did that in 2024. If you keep going, we did 3 community waste dives. And I did include a picture where Susan Frazier is there. Thank you, Susan, a Brooklyn SWAB member who is a really active participant in our community waste dives. We had 3 We had three of those at 3 developments. We invited community partners like Compost Power, like the Sanitation Foundation, Earth Matter, and more. And we all sort of converged on these campuses and talked to residents that were passing by, and gave them information about recycling and composting and all that sort of stuff. We tried to do games and things like that. But anyway, next slide. As part of those, we had recycling audits. This goes to our goal of really trying to work on the metrics. I think you don't improve what you don't measure. Or you can't improve what you don't measure. So I think this is important. We did, and there's Anita right there, center. She was getting her hands dirty with us. And that was a doozy of a day. It was like 30 degrees and raining. But we picked up recycling from this is the metal, glass, plastic cartons from all the recycling bins throughout. This one's Wagner. And then we opened them up and we sorted. Oh, first we weighed it. We opened it up, sorted. Then we weighed the true recyclables and then the contamination. And we got the contamination rate. We also got like just how much was being thrown in there. Wait. Anyway, it wasn't scientific. We only did those 3 developments. But it didn't take a lot of time, and we're sort of hoping that we can encourage NYCHA to do more of that. All right, let's go to the next slide. And then we did get a grant. One of the grants, the resident climate. This was Diana Blackwell got the resident climate action grant, and we did some mending circles at the same 3 developments. We worked with their older adult centers on site, Cornerstones, and community center. NORC was also involved. We had intergenerational mending circles because, waste reduction would be the ideal. Like if we're not throwing anything away or whatever and reusing, that would be the ideal. I'm actually wearing pants that I did some work at one of these mending circles. But it was, many of them were intergenerational. The ones at older adult centers were not. But anyway, we started those in the summer of last year. Okay, I think then we're moving into our plans for this year. Juliette mentioned about the brown bin pilot. So what we were approached by Gotham Food Pantry, who they get food rescue and they bring it to NYCHA resident leaders who are willing to distribute at a food pantry on site. In that process, there is some spoiled food, and the residents kept saying, like, what can we, can we compost this? Why, whatever. Gotham said maybe the MSWAB can help, and they reached out to us. We put our heads together and we thought of this idea for a pilot. It is a shared responsibility model. So the resident, so it's a very limited in terms of space and time collection of food scraps that happens during the food pantry distribution. They set out the brown bins. NYCHA, when it's not in use, stores those brown bins somewhere, and then NYCHA just puts them out for when the recycling's collected. But it's the resident leaders who are putting on the food pantries that are responsible for educating folks about the food scraps and what can go into those bins. And in some cases, it's their responsibility for securing them when they're not in use. Others, they've worked it out with the management team where property managers are going to handle that. But anyway, we're just starting that, and we really wanted to get one in every borough. So we thought we had somebody lined up in Brooklyn, and it doesn't look like they're really committed. But anyway, we're going to keep working on that. So that's something we're doing to see if that would work. We want to do more recycling and organics education. So this time, instead of doing those community waste dives, which were an immense amount of planning and work, and we just got whoever was coming by at the time, it wasn't a big ROI, I would say. But we're hoping to work with NYCHA during family days. I think this was Juliette's idea, or maybe Anita's, to to do NYCHA campuses. Pretty much all of them have family days in the summer. It's a Saturday usually, and it's a fun day. They all look forward to the community comes out and we can table and do that. So that is someplace we would love for outreach. I know our outreach committee and Jason, hopefully your outreach committee can work about sharing the schedule for those and figure out if we could get people tabling at that. So that is one big ask for the Brooklyn SWAB. We did put in a grant application or like idea of doing a library of things at a NYCHA campus. I think that would be a really, 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 really good thing to pilot and just see if that works. And then more collaboration. We're just talking with NYCHA now about the things we can do this year. So that's it. I'm sorry, I still went a little long, but
it's a complex topic.
It is a complex topic. Last thing I will say is we meet the first Thursday of every month. That means this Thursday for March, 5:30, and that we're on Google Meets. We would love to have Brooklyn SWAB members attend. Susan's been a great regular attendee, and we welcome more.
I would also just like to add that NYCHA, you guys are some of the most progressive.
Yes.
You're the most progressive agency in New York City in terms of these kinds of forward-thinking things.
Yeah.
And maybe you're limited on budget, but I feel like the answer is yes before someone even finishes saying what they're saying about their idea. And the fact this is a great way to plug in is this SWAB NYCHA committee, and it's just a wonderful like grassroots, everything. And even though NYCHA doesn't have a lot of funding, they're very fundable if you want to partner with them for a grant. I mean, yeah, well, yeah, but still, yeah.
I just want to add that solving for NYCHA is potentially solving for the entire city.
Exactly.
Because we're finding that in low participation districts, and there are very high participation districts with the city of New York, very low participation districts. We find that in low participation districts, the primary drivers are space and staff. And NYCHA has the same challenges. So as we find creative ways to fix and solve that challenge, it's applicable to the low participation districts and the rest of the city. And we can actually, if we look at these examples, move from 19% where we've been for 30, 40 years, total diversion, to 30% that has been set by the Department of Sanitation for the next 10 years. So that's it.
So goes NYCHA, so goes NYC.
Yeah, it's true.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. I mean, it's phenomenal to have folks from NYCHA. Juliette, thank you so much. It was terrific hearing on the ground reporting from the NYCHA Resident Leaders. Thank you so much for the 4 of you that came and spoke with us and gave us these detailed reporting about what's going on. And Kristen, thank you so much, you and Susan as well, for all the work that you're doing within NYCHA. And Matt, I saw your picture as well as Anita. And that
rainy day.
Yeah, no, this is super exciting. I really appreciate you all taking the time and coming and explaining this complex topic to us. We really appreciate it. And I look forward to future NYCHA meetings. So thank you.
Second largest tree canopy after parks.
Oh, are you serious?
In NYCHA,
Wow, that's true.
Yeah. Is that amazing?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
We gotta get the trash out of that tree.
I know.
No one take cats. All right. Well, thank you so much. Everybody is welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we certainly understand if there's anybody that needs to take off. It is 8 o'clock, so if you need to go, we understand. But you're welcome to stay.
Can I ask one question real fast?
Yeah, please.
I wanted to know what happened to the trust. They had the New York Public Housing Preservation Trust. What happened with that? And then they converted to the RAD PAC. What happened with that?
Well, the trust exists and is. I think they've residents are voting, right? And I know that at Nostrand Houses, I think was the very first development in Brooklyn to choose the trust. So they will be converting to Section 8 with the trust, and the staff who will manage their property will be NYCHA employees or through the trust. So that is happening at Nostrand, and then there are several other properties which I can't think of off the top of my head, which have also voted to go with the trust. So I think that they're very active. I think on the NYCHA website there are resources describing the trust. Maybe we can follow up after this with that.
All right, because again, it states that NYCHA cannot enter into ground leases without another entity. So it's always the funding that they lack.
I don't know if I understood the question, Ms. Reagan.
Well, it says, what I was asking, why can't NYCHA do things on its own? According to the laws and regulations, NYCHA is not eligible to get a federal project-based Section 8 subsidy by itself. The subsidy can only be excessive housing if NYCHA enter into ground lease with another entity. And I heard you earlier indicating, there's not enough funding. It's not enough funding, so I realized that most NYCHA developments aren't funded fully by a federal government. Is it through the federal government and the state? If I'm, that's what I'm looking for clarity.
I see. Yeah, I think that sort of like what Kristen said earlier, that the funding to do the full-scale renovation of a property is that is the funding that we are lacking, right? The federal funds to do that scale of redevelopment, and the funding that's available to the entities, whether it's the trust or the private developers, allows them to do that kind. They can raise the funds to do that kind of redevelopment. But we can follow up with more resources, Ms. Reagan, because we're not the best experts to talk about the financing, but we're happy to connect you.
Yeah, I just wanted to know that it was the trust still in existence, because now that they had the rat in the pack, so I'm saying it's a lot to, it's a lot to digest and a lot to, try to, have it resonate, really, you know what I mean? So yeah, but this was an interesting meeting. I really appreciate being on board, and I like joining you guys in the future.
I have one question, please. Does your organization help in any way to deal with this situation with the garbage and the rodent infestation?
We are thinking about working with Kristen and creating a stronger Brooklyn NYCHA committee. So I think that's something that I think Rhonda and I have as goals. And I think that there's some other folks in the SWAB that have brought this up. This having a NYCHA focused meeting came from actually Betty Flybush. So that was a suggestion from Betty. Thank you, Betty. This is a great idea. And so I think that overall we'd really like to build it out, and we'd really like to partner with you, Ms. LaVoy, and figure out how Brooklyn SWAB can get more involved.
Thank you. Okay.
Do we have her email address?
I will.
Okay, we'll connect with you via email.
Juliette, you can
from Kristen.
Okay, terrific. All right, well, thank you so much. All right, thank you. Okay. All right, well, Kristen's gonna go. Anything good? Thanks for coming in person too. It's really great to see you.
We'll leave these for you, or if you.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great. Maybe I can scan them and send them to people.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Okay. That's like we had like scanner. It's really easy.
Well, thank you all very much. I hope you all have a very good night. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Well, I think coming down a little bit.
Yeah.
I think, going back to the agenda after this very, informative and invigorating discussion, I wanted to go quickly back to the executive committee updates. We have a couple more, topics within our area. I wanted to let everyone know that the executive, committee, as well as Savannah Robledo, has been working on some initial cuts on the bylaws. We would like to have an open meeting for everyone, open to everyone within the SWAB on March 24th from 4:15 to 5:15 to talk through some of the notes that we've made. So we're going to put that on the calendar, and that's going to be open to people that that are interested and are able to make it. The next topic we'd like to discuss is there was a request that came from the borough president's office to see whether or not the Brooklyn SWAB would be willing to move their regular general meeting from the first Monday of the month to the first Tuesday of the month. The times would stay the same, the room would stay the same, but wanted to put it forward to the SWAB. And Lacey, there have been some people.
I can speak to this a little bit. So basically this building, Borough Hall, is managed by DCAS, the Department of Citywide Administrative Services. They staff the building with the security guards and the maintenance people. And every time our office keeps the building open after hours, we have to pay all those staff extra. And so we are trying to consolidate our after hours meetings just to basically use your taxpayer dollars more efficiently. And so we would like to have this meeting at the same time as our borough board meeting, which also takes place in this building, which is on the first Tuesday. So it's really only moving a day. And that is the reason that we are making this request. And I'm not really sure what we're going to do if you don't vote for it. So, yeah, that's the deal.
With that as backdrop, I'd like to open it up to anybody that has any comments or questions or rebuttals. Betty, if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the reason and so on. Can we have a choice, like the Tuesday or maybe a Thursday?
That obviously would be nice. And they were like, the only other choice is to do it during the day, which I don't think would really work.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. Okay.
I see. Okay, thank you for your
Or basically, like, we have to have a staff volunteer to do the door. And, like, I don't think that we can consistently guarantee that. Hi. See, perfect timing.
Right on cue.
I know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was our DCAS security guard who is here waiting for us, basically. And that is why I always am like, we got to get out of here at 8:30 because that's when they're supposed to go home. And that's the deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So I think that unless there's Beth.
I just wanted to bring up one thing, which is that, I mean, we're just at a quorum right now, so we can vote on this, but there's a lot of people on the SWAB who are not here. So after we have this vote and after this meeting, I'm just going to advocate to let people know sooner rather than later, because we are talking about next month.
Okay, great.
This.
I'd like to make a motion to do this by unanimous consent. So unless there's anybody who strongly feels that we should not be making this change and not be working with the city government. After 35 years, okay. So we're having a change, and anybody who feels otherwise, please speak forcefully now. Otherwise, we're going to move and partner with the city and help to manage costs more effectively and switch it to the first Tuesday.
Can we vote? Can we just go?
Yeah, we can just
vote, save energy.
Yeah, save energy.
So I vote as a taxpayer.
Yes, vote as a taxpayer.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt's trying to vote as a taxpayer.
And we have to
Okay.
end early because I have to use the bathroom.
Okay, so we've got 4 votes here in Borough Hall, and 5 if you count Matt as a taxpayer.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate
Yay.
you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry it's a pain. I teach on Tuesdays in the fall, so like it's not perfect for me either, but we're just gonna do what we're gonna do. So
Okay.
we're gonna figure it out.
All right. All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay.
With that, I want to quickly move it over to Lacey.
Okay, I'm not gonna take up any time. I'm just gonna say thank you for that. And also on Friday, we're meeting with the new sanitation chair of the council,
Okay.
Justin Sanchez,
Okay.
just to talk about our priorities and everything. So, you know, I think you all know what those are for us. So we'll play the hits and try to get them in front of the new chair.
All right.
And also, hopefully, I will have some stuff to report back about what they're thinking about the approval of the swamp. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that'd be great. Terrific.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear about it.
Yes.
All right, thanks so much, Lacey.
Do we
Any-
know, excuse me, do we know if there's a new commissioner or there's still
No,
the
no.
acting
They
commissioner?
have said that they are going to hold off on appointing a new commissioner until after snow season for consistency.
Yeah.
I don't know when snow season technically ends. Seems like never.
Yeah.
But I assume it's like sometime next month.
Had exceptionally
So
loud.
I'm not expecting till like late April or early May.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Good
Thank
question.
you.
Yep. Any coalition updates? I think Sherry was here. The Save Our Compost is working on a letter to Mamdani about the current program and why composting is important. So I think Lonnie is leading that. I think that's a big update on Save Our Compost. And I think we had a message from Uli saying that she hadn't been able to make it to the February meeting. So I think the reusable meeting is tomorrow. So if anybody wants to go, they can do that. Next up, Legislative Committee. If Bella is still here.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, so we met last week and we kind of are updating. We have a lot of open-ended questions that we're regrouping and we'll be coming up with some updates soon. I would say for like the next meeting, hopefully, or this month.
Okay. And there is a hearing on for sanitation on March 16th. It's open to the public starting at 1. So the legislative committee is aware of it, and if there's any testimony that they feel inclined to develop, everybody will hear about it. Next up, outreach committee.
Where did you get that date from? Because it's not on the council's calendar.
I know, it's weird. It came up
It's
in
the
a.
only one that's missing.
They sent an email about it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Ricky Chala.
I'll
Oh,
send
okay.
it. I'll send you the link.
Thank
Yeah.
Jason, are you still here?
I don't think Jason is still here.
Yeah, he might have had to go. All right, we had a great tour of Sims. He did a great job organizing it. Kendall and I were also there. It was packed. Community board seemed to really appreciate it. So that was good. It was a good representation of a number of community boards. So effective. It was oversubscribed, so he's looking to schedule another one in May. So great. Also, there is the events subcommittee. Liz Roisman and I think Debbie Herdan as well is going to be working on Riverkeeper again. And I think, Liz, keep me honest, I think it's May 2nd. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
And we're looking at a different location, maybe Bush Terminal in Industry City, as opposed to the IKEA Erie Park or Erie Basin. Anything on organics?
No, we just have our meeting on Monday, and I guess I would just ask, the Trash Academy graduation is next week, I believe. So if anybody wants to help table, I just need to know names so I can get them added to the list.
Okay. All right. I think you can add me to the list, Allison.
Thank you.
All right, great. And we welcome anybody else who would like to participate. So thanks so much on that. There's a number of announcements in the open floor. As usual, the master composter The Trash Academy graduation is in here as well. A Brooklyn Botanic Garden annual spring conference, primarily for gardeners. And there's a link to the New York City Council preliminary budget meeting in there as well. Crazy for Composting is also listed up there. Allison has filled out tabling for that, and there may be speakers on that as well. So more to come on the other events. And Vandra, I see your question. You got your hand up. So over to you.
Yes, actually, it's more of an announcement and an invitation to come to hear Rhonda speak at the Brooklyn Society for Ethical Culture this coming Sunday, when she is going to be our guest speaker, talking about activism as a ethical and civic practice. And not only is she our guest speaker, but her daughter, Maybelle, is going to be our guest musician. So I'm going to send out the announcement to, if I can, I'll send out a link to send out to BK SWAB would be great. And if you, and it'd be lovely. We're on 4th Avenue. Hopefully there will be no snow. And it would be lovely. It'd be really great to see people. I haven't seen you in such a long time. And it'd be super to see people in person. And, you know, I hear all of the talk about the organics. I have to say that I'm now just had my 79th birthday. Wow. So I really am an elder now. And there is only so much that I can do. And so I hear all of the stuff that's going on for the organics, and I wish I could say, I'm there. But to be truthful, I'm just getting old. So, at any rate, look forward to seeing you on Sunday if you can come. It's at 12:30 in the afternoon, so nice time. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vonda, for sharing that. Rhonda, I can't believe you didn't share that. All right, so good stuff. All right, anybody else? Any other final announcements? Any burning desire to share? All right, we had a special guest, Oliver. I was going to ask you to give us an update on your life. We got 5 minutes, but I don't know if we really want to do that.
Oh, it's a very short update. Still no idea what I'm doing. Hope to be back regularly, but no idea if I will be. It's lovely to see you all.
Thank you for coming. Yep. All right, with that, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Great meeting, and lovely seeing everyone, even just via our small Zoom screens. But thank you so much, and appreciate your participation.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.